I love podcasts and I probably listen to them too much. And there's one podcast episode that I have listened to 3 times. I feel like the percentage of people who re-listen to podcasts is pretty low. So for me to listen to this one 3 times, it must be good. And that episode is number 1309 of the Joe Rogan Experience with a guy called Naval Ravikant. So in chronological order, I'm going to go through every single piece of wisdom, knowledge, just general insights that I took from this podcast. I'll expand on some points, I'll not expand on others, but there's a lot to get through, so let's get started. When you combine things you're not supposed to, people get interested. Specialisation is for insects. So I looked this up and it's part of a quote from a guy called Robert Heinlein. I think in a professional setting, specialisation is a good thing, but outside of that, try out and learn as much as you like. Instruments, sports, language, how to cook. I would say it's more valuable just getting good at all those things instead of putting all your focus towards getting good at one thing. I would rather read the 100 greatest books over and over again until I absorb them, rather than read all the books. Read for understanding, jump between books and follow your interests. Rather than looking at yourself, you're looking at how other people look at you. I guess just don't make decisions based on what you wrongly believe aligns with other people's expectations. You don't want to be the guy who finds success in life through immense struggle. You want to be the guy who finds success in a calm, easy, composed way. Controversial one, happiness is a choice. If you're so smart and capable, why can't you learn how to be happy? Desire is a contract you make with yourself to be unhappy until you get what you want. If you want to operate at peak performance, you need to learn how to tame your mind and body. In the future, everyone will be working for themselves. You'll wake up, have a few jobs to pick from on your phone, you do one of those jobs, then rest. You will never get rich renting out your time. Even high-paying doctors or lawyers will never experience true wealth because they're not a free person, they're working for someone else. Automation and AI will inevitably take over millions of people's jobs, but that doesn't mean everyone will get a universal basic income and not work. People need work, people need meaning. Over time, automation will take over every non-creative job. 85% of humanity is dead. Not really sure why I wrote that down, but that was mentioned at one point throughout the podcast. If all your beliefs are the same as your neighbours and friends, you're not a clear thinker. In today's age, most people are experiencing diseases of abundance, not diseases of scarcity. So in olden times, I might have starved, or if I got a bit of sugar or a piece of news, that would have been a good thing. But nowadays, people are dying from too much good things. Naval then mentions a quote from Blaise Pascal. Who knows if I'm saying that right? All of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone. Meditation is the art of doing nothing. Peace is happiness at rest. It's easier to change yourself than to change the world, and the best way to change the world is to change yourself. It's much better to know and fully understand the basics of a subject rather than memorise the advanced areas of a subject. Forget learning calculus, instead master the basics. If there was a single answer to the meaning of life, we wouldn't feel free. Humans would end up living like robots, competing with each other to fulfill that answer. There are no get-rich-quick schemes, only someone trying to get rich off of you. If everyone was properly trained and educated in high-level jobs, within 10 to 20 years, everyone would be out of jobs and able to work purely on creative projects. It's only after you buy the expensive car that you realise that it doesn't attract girls, it just attracts other guys. I guess this could be linked to the man in the car paradox, where the man in the car is driving by thinking people are admiring him, when in reality, they're just admiring the thought of themselves driving the car. They're not thinking, oh, that guy in that car is so cool. They're thinking to themselves, wouldn't it be cool if I was driving that car? As you get older, you begin to understand that there's no happiness in material possessions. Being poor can make you unhappy, but being rich isn't going to make you happy. Fucking running low on filming locations. Retirement is when you stop sacrificing today for some imaginary tomorrow, when today is complete in and of itself. Arm yourself with specific knowledge. No one can beat you at being you. there are two great addictions: heroin and your salary. Your resume, or CV, is a catalogue of your struggles and suffering. Going about judging people and situations will leave you feeling lonely and only seeing the negatives. The world just reflects your own feelings back at you. Reality is neutral. At this point in the podcast, Naval quotes Confucius a couple of times. Every man has two lives, and this second starts when he realises he has just one. A happy person wants 10,000 things. A sick person wants just one. To know that your interest is deeply real, ask yourself, would I continue learning this if I knew I couldn't tell anyone about it? The only reason people become winners in life is because they had to work for it. If I was born into a super wealthy family and had perfect social skills and looked super cool, I wouldn't have done anything with my life. I would have peaked too early and missed out on the joys of sucking at something. Set your own personal hourly rate. If a small task will use up a lot of that time and it's not worth your hourly rate, pay someone else to do it or just don't do it at all. The hedonic treadmill is like a Ferris wheel. You'll ride up it, get a little dopamine hit, but eventually you'll ride back down. In fact, the more highs you get, the harder it will become to go round the Ferris wheel. Art is creativity and doing something for its own sake. This is something Naval spoke about in other podcasts. Dual-natured activities can be good in the beginning but have negatives down the line. So things like chasing money, chasing status. Pure activities, on the other hand, have no negatives down the line. These are things you can fully embrace doing in the moment. For example, meditation, writing for fun, journaling, reading for fun, listening to music. Even running a business can be a pure activity if you're doing it for the flow and craft of it. Essentially, he's saying that you should try and pursue more activities that are extrinsically for you. Things that don't have an end goal that you're constantly looking at, just things that you genuinely enjoy doing in the moment. And finally, when you're doing something that you love, you'll have a big natural edge over anyone else. Working hard is important, but finding something that looks like work to others and feels like play to you is even more important. So, that was 39 insights, quotes, just things that I noted down. This conversation has such a high knowledge to time ratio. Everything Naval says is just gold, and it's all squeezed into 2 hours, which I just mentioned 39 points there, so that works out to something insightful being said every 3 minutes, which is insane. So if you haven't already, go and give this podcast a listen, or even just any Naval appearance. He's not done much podcasts, so there's not a huge amount to pick from. There's also a book, The Almanac of Naval Ravikant, which expands on a lot of the things that I just mentioned. So there's that, there's a few podcasts, and I guess I'll end with one of my favourite Naval quotes. There's no legacy. There's nothing to leave. We're all going to be gone. Our planet will be dust. If you fully acknowledge the futility of what you're doing, then I think it can bring great happiness and peace, because you realise this is a game. You're going to die one day and none of this is going to matter. So enjoy yourself, do something positive, project some love, make someone happy, laugh a little bit, appreciate the moment and do your work.